Welcome to another movie plot. Enjoy the memories and watch out for spoilers. The movie opens in an orphanage where certain infants are being selected for a military training program. The Adam Project candidates are raised with no understanding of anything but military routine and that to show mercy is weakness. Highly disciplined Todd leads the cadets in all areas of training, and anyone physically or mentally unable to keep up are executed. The survivors of the program are turned into the ultimate fighting machines but have no understanding of the outside world. Where other soldiers may hesitate, Todd has no issue with blowing away civilians to accomplish his mission. He went on to lead his assault team in the War of the Six Cities and the Moscow incident, where he was forced to put his brainwashing to the test and shoot through a woman to hit his target. By 2036 his accomplishments are vast and mankind wages war across multiple galaxies. Sergeant Todd's now a hardened veteran and one of the few survivors of the original batch, sitting and waiting for their next orders. The unit commander Captain Church is informed of his superior Colonel Mekum's arrival. He introduces them to a new team of genetically engineered soldiers designed with the intention of replacing Todd and his men. They show superior physical traits in every area including accuracy and strength, and when questioned on their endurance, their best soldier Caine's pitted against Todd in a foot race, and easily catches him after a 20-minute head start. While Todd's exhausted, the super soldier barely breaks a sweat, and demonstrates this by again catching and defeating Todd in a climbing race up chains. When asked about the soldier's spirit, Mekum sums spirit up as aggression and claims they lack any emotions except for it. Caine is put up against Todd in a one-on-one fight to prove this but is told to bring in 2 more of the original soldiers to make it fair. They join Todd on the chains and begin to fight, where after very few strikes Caine easily defeats 2 of them as one falls to his death and the other unconscious. Todd leaps on his back and manages to gouge out one of Caine's eyeballs, before being elbowed a few times, falling onto a body and getting knocked unconscious. The hanging original is executed by Mekum as Church is told that his men are now obsolete, and to dispose of the dead far away, covering it all up as just a training exercise gone wrong. The 3 are taken in a waste disposal ship to the dumpster planet of Arcadia 234. Todd wakes up as the ship arrives and is dumped off onto the planet's surface, a garbage-covered wasteland containing all of Earth's junk. The planet frequently sees sandstorms as one suddenly approaches and blows through unannounced, nearly killing the soldier as he holds on tight enough to cut his hand. After it settles down, he finds a group of people and silently follows them through a mass graveyard all the way back to their settlement. When a second sandstorm suddenly hits and he's knocked from a great height yet again, falling unconscious just as the townspeople discover him. Inside the compound, the leader Hawkins tells them to calm down as Jimmy the pig has found no signs of any other strangers, and the decent thing to do would be to treat the injured. The skeptic of the bunch, Slade, agrees, as long as Mace and his wife are the ones who will do the sheltering. His wife Sandra nurses Todd back to health, and though they try to make him feel welcome, he constantly has difficulty adapting to the strange notion of peace. Chowing down with his new family in the community area, the soldier's asked by Slade if he's a deserter and stands up seemingly disrespected, but he's just being formal and tells him no sir, just replaced by somebody better. Sandra tells Todd that their entire community are believed dead after crash landing on the planet 12 years earlier. They attempted to get ship's attention but no one can see them, or they just don't care. During their time gardening, Todd plants his first anything as Sandra cuts the head off a snake. She says her child Nathan was bitten by one when he was younger and lost the ability to speak. The colony spend their days scavenging whatever junk they can find within reach of a chain, tethered to anchor points to avoid being taken by the sandstorm. During one of these farming sessions, Jimmy is almost blown into a conveniently placed shredder, but where half a dozen locals can't do it, Todd pulls him to safety. As they all celebrate, Todd's only focus is on the first unattended gun he's seen and the thought of getting off this island. He's so far removed from basic human behavior that he cuts himself while preparing dinner and just begins to mix the blood in. Being the first woman he's spent any time with, he begins to develop feelings for Sandra, though doesn't know what they are. When asked what being a soldier's like and if he has any emotions, he tells her he's in a constant state of fear and discipline, so she gives him his first ever hug. During their Christmas party, Todd begins to experience flashbacks and needs to get away from the noises to relax. The next day, children sneak away from their classes to watch him wail away on an empty metal drum, and when they're called away by Hawkins, the flashbacks return. Just then he mistakes Jimmy for an enemy and nearly kills him, but snaps out of it just in time, being seen by his family who were just delivering a present for the rescue. Todd spends the night wearing himself out on the bag before being woken up in the morning by Nathan. A snake enters the room, so Todd uses it to teach the timid boy to strike back and protect himself. Before he can teach him the proper boot technique, his parents enter and take it the wrong way. The community has a meeting where they're all unsure of how to deal with Todd, and after some deliberation decide that it's in their best interest to expel him from his new home. He takes his Christmas present from Jimmy and treks into the harsh desert alone, setting up camp just like 2 miles away in a pipe. Overcome by the loss, Todd experiences strong emotions for the first time and gets confused at the sight of tears running down his face. Sometime later, Mace and Sandra are almost bitten by a snake while they sleep, but are rescued by the brave Nathan using Todd's crush it with a boot technique. Owing his life to Todd's conflict resolution life lesson, Mace ventures out on a quest to return the lost soldier to the community he once left. Thinking that it might be an epic journey, he finds him in the pipe only like 10 minutes away. Meanwhile in space, since the planets are listed as uninhabited, Colonel Mekum decides to take the new soldiers to the Arcadia system to test out their capabilities, where they eventually reach 234. They fly overhead of the graveyard and depart their ship onto the planet's surface, where Caine is grumpy for being demoted to truck driver due to his loss of vision and begins firing on the first people he sees. The two heroes race back to town juking the soldiers' shots, until eventually Mace is blown up and loses a leg. The troops overtake them and head for the community, who are all gathering in the courtyard to greet their visitors, not realizing what awaits. For the safety of the others, Hawkins approaches alone with tidings of peace but is instantly blown away by Caine. Outmanned and outgunned, the townspeople fire back but are easily wiped out as Jimmy manages to survive and runs away. Church is informed by Rubrick of the colonists, but Mekum says he plans to use every last one of them as target practice. Mace dies in Todd's arms, telling him to protect his family, while Caine sends in a 3-man fire team to deal with any survivors, which Church calls reckless, saying that Todd would have known better and sent in more. Lieutenant Sloan operates what's remaining of the original soldiers as a simple recon team, and when Riley asks if they get to hold a gun again, she tells them no and never will again. The kill team walk through the community shooting and burning anyone they come across, protected from any gunfire by heavily armored plating. Suddenly the battle-hardened Todd drops through the sunroof and slits the first Super Trooper's throat. Slade's been a valuable member of the community and is the only one who offers Todd any help, but it's rejected. The second reaches Sandra and the children, but Todd stands waiting and hits him center mass with a rocket launcher. The third shreds Sandra's Icelandic Airways home with a chain gun, when Todd reappears with the launcher and blows the propeller off into his chest. He then takes one of the radios and growls, making Mekum think that an unknown enemy force may be lying in wait to ambush them. At the suggestion of Church, he nervously orders the soldiers to withdraw and replaces all their gear with heavy artillery. With the colony in ruins, Todd begins to strip the soldiers down and take all their advanced gear while telling Sandra about her husband's death. 17 enhanced soldiers still remain, though don't let that number fool you. He kills about 30 of them. The village offers to help Todd fight back like it's Magnificent Seven, but he refuses, saying that soldiers deserve soldiers. Which is a lot of words for him, considering he only says 104 words in the whole film, and you've currently listened to about 1,400 from me. The soldiers return in full force, so Todd shoots to get their attention and begins to outmaneuver them with his superior knowledge of the trash planet. Using guerrilla tactics and his years of battle experience, he throws the first into a snake pit and stabs the second through his goggles. Using the first fire team's weapons, he kills another 2, alerting the entire squad to his location, but has traps placed on the opposite side that another 2 walk into. With the team thinking they are being ambushed from all sides, they lose another 1 before realizing that it's a booby trap, attached to an explosive that Todd lets off. By now there are only about half a dozen foot soldiers left, so Todd buckles up and waits for the incoming sandstorm to eliminate the rest. He hijacks one of the 2 armored vehicles, shooting the gun crew and dropping a grenade inside, blowing its pilot up, while Caine receives orders to fire their artillery on the settlement and its people. Church tells Mekum that he should have made the soldiers smarter, not faster, which is put on display right away when Caine doesn't recognize Todd's voice over the radio as he drives straight at him, crushing the last of the super soldiers and destroying both vehicles. Sandra survives the bombardment with the children and teaches them that being brave means making your fear be really tiny, when Caine wakes up only being injured by the crash and injects and pops all the uppers in the world. He Terminator walks straight into the colony as Sandra has a jump scare, but it's just Todd. They begin to escape when coming face to face with his rival. As the kids flee into the compound, the 2 soldiers have a showdown, with Todd matching his strength closer this time, having spent everyday training while Caine has been sitting on his ass. Another show of the new batch's intelligence is put on full display, when Caine drop kicks Todd into a sign that almost falls down and kills himself. Much faster and better trained in hand-to-hand combat, the Cyclops begins to come back and has Todd on the ropes. When the original recipe fakes him out thinking he wants to reach for a knife but uses a helicopter blade to slice his abdomen. He then punches him, breaks his arm and gives him the old 90s 2-hand wallop, finishing him off with a broken neck, showing no remorse for the brainwashed man. Panicking and with no men left, Mekum orders the original soldiers to activate a device that he calls the Planet Killer. As the team make their preparations, Todd appears to his men who thought him dead this whole time. So Riley and his old comrades obviously side with their sergeant over the army that's discarded them. Mekum orders the ship to lift off, leaving Captain Church's men behind, so he objects but is murdered in cold blood. Scurrying to lift off before they board, the originals hijack the ship in time and bring the colonel to Todd. The terrified man begs for his life and even pisses himself, but gets no mercy and is left on the planet along with Sloan and Rubrick. They barely escape the departing ship's thrusters as the soldiers evacuate with the remaining colonists. In an attempt to disarm the doomsday device, Sloan can't remember if the sequence ends in a 6 or a 7, so Mekum flips a coin, betting their lives wrong and accidentally setting it off. The two best friends share an emotionless look and set a course for the colonists' original destination of the Trinity Moons. Nathan enters the command deck and asks to be picked up by Todd, which he does, much to the confusion of his yet-to-be reconstituted brothers in arms. He points to their new home while looking out upon the galaxy. And the movie ends. So you made it. I appreciate your time. I couldn't have done it without you. Tell your mother I said thanks.